Hey Frank, how's it going? This is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. Thank you so much for becoming a member of our community. I think you're going to like it. I can tell you already do. I love your enthusiasm and looking forward to us having you as a long-term subscriber and showing you as much Elliott Wave real-time and education as I can send your way. So thanks for the email. I'm going to take a look at three stocks for you, three popular stocks that a lot of people should be interested in and their Elliott Wave pattern. First, we're going to take a look at Apple, AAPL, NVIDIA, NVDA, and then we're going to close it out with Peloton, PTON. We've looked at Apple and NVIDIA before, never Peloton, but we'll get started with Apple here. It was incepted back in 1984, had a lot of back and forth back in the day. Obviously, that changed in 1998 and has gone up ever since then. It gave us a very large first wave up, a very large second wave back, or second wave pullback, and ever since 2003 has been in a very large, massive third wave advance to the upside. Now, at some point, possibly there or possibly very soon, this third wave advance will complete and a fourth wave pullback will begin to offset this second wave here before a fifth wave up ultimately plays out to give us one large five-wave advance playing out over more than 2 decades. It's already lasted more than 2 decades, so a very long-term time frame. Now our concern is where we are in this third wave advance. From this time frame, you can see pretty clearly, fairly evidently, it has taken on a five-wave move. Now this isn't rocket science. We're looking for five-wave moves, and when those five-wave moves complete, we expect that up leg to complete. So when this five-wave move is complete, then we have to think wave 3 has completed and a larger fourth wave pullback has begun. So that is what's at stake here. Everything's not super straightforward on Apple. We have a lot of charts to look at, but that's kind of the basis. Overall, definitely bullish. Got to be aware that a much larger fourth wave pullback could be looming. So let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at this five-wave move here. It's basically the fifth wave of this third wave advance. So let's go ahead and zoom in and just take a look at this action here. This is it, and if you look at that fifth wave, you can see that once again, it looks like it also took on a five-wave move to the upside. And if you look at every up leg, it looks like it too has taken a five-wave move. So there's a risk, there's a possibility that this big five-wave advance here has already completed with the completion of this five-wave advance off the 2013 low. Now, if we look back here, we see this action that's happened off the 2020 low. It's kind of been choppy. It's been counter-trend price action. Could be one large correction, but it's pretty hard to peg down so far. But there's a risk that a more important high is in, and we have to be aware of that possibility just because we're seeing pretty large five-wave advances potentially complete to the upside. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the most recent action here. This takes a look at that action that we've seen basically since early September 2020. Had a lot of back and forth movement. It has broken out to new highs more recently. But overall, all this action looks quite a bit like counter-trend price movement. It's a large move. It's hard to label. We're seeing a lot of this across the market. It's hard to say exactly where it ended or if it's ended or what have you. So the way I see it, there's two different ways that we could label this price action off of August high. One way is shown here. This puts us in a large, incomplete A, B, C pullback, still in need of a C wave down. This labeling makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot of moves like this across the market where we've seen price continue directly higher. So let's look at that possibility that this move has already completed. It's not the prettiest labeling in the world, but it's possible. We had an ABC that truncated with wave C ending above wave A's high, an X wave up, and an ABC where once again wave C truncated ending above wave A's high. Super uncommon patterns. We don't see these very often, but we've been seeing them across the market in late 2020, early 2021. There's no reason Apple couldn't have done it. So that's the two possibilities that we see. Obviously, it's not super helpful saying, well, either the correction is or isn't over. But in a pattern like this, it's really hard to say with any absolute confidence what labeling is playing out. Now, if it was this counter trend move here and price is already resuming its uptrend to the upside off of June's low, I think we'd have to take another look at this advance off of the 2013 low and say maybe this isn't a completed five-wave advance. Maybe we're looking at a more extended move, something like this, where you have a first, a second wave, and now you have an extended third wave advance that's giving us 5 waves to the upside here. That's a possibility. That's why it's just not super clear at this time, but I think we can boil it down to some tradable action, and basically it all comes down to the advance off of June's low. Now that move has been trendy to the upside. It looks bullish. as long as this stays above 132, there's going to be the potential that this is, again, a more extended up move that has work to do before it's over. But if at any point it moves below 132, we're going to have to think that we're in a larger correction, and then that opens the door to this whole up leg being complete. And if you step back up or back out, you can see that could be the beginning of a much larger fourth wave pullback. So distilled into something very simple, bullish against 132. If it moves below 132, that opens the door to a much larger pullback. I think that level has to be respected. If it goes below there, I'd step aside if you have any shorter term time frame on this guy. Because if we are getting a larger fourth wave pullback, you're talking about a move on the same scale as what we saw back here in 2001, 2002. Could be a large move. So far it's been sideways. It's been actually upward like everything else. But if it moves below 132, I think that would be a big warning sign. Otherwise, my recommendation is to be bullish on Apple until there's some proof that a more important high is in. So lengthy, a lot of breath there. Sorry about that. That's because Apple's a tricky one with what's happened in late 2020, early 2021. So let's go ahead and move on now. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. We've taken a look at this stock a few times not too long ago. Let's do it again. Kind of like Apple, near its inception, back and forth, a lot of choppy price action, and then that all changed off the 2008 low here, and it's been in a very clear, apparent five-wave advance off of that low, and you can see that here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't need a degree to see that. It's all fairly obvious. We're not making any crazy statements by calling this a five-wave move that is currently in its fifth wave advance. When this fifth wave advance completes, we have to be aware that a much more important high is in store, and that would be a time certainly where I would think you'd want to sell if NVIDIA is going to go ahead and correct a move that basically went from $1.25 up to $200. So that's what's at stake. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see what's happening in this fifth wave to determine when it might complete. So here is a look at that fifth wave, and again, it's just obvious. I mean, it jumps out. There's been two large pullbacks off of the 2019 low. You get a first wave, there's that first pullback. You get a third wave, and then there's that second pullback as wave 4. And we appear to be in that fifth wave up. So if we step back out, we're talking about being in the fifth wave of the overall advance, and very possibly the fifth wave of this fifth wave advance. So we look like we're getting fairly close to a high. Now, if we move into the 2021 time frame here and look at the fifth of a fifth wave, it doesn't look like it's over yet. It looks like we've had a first wave up, a second wave down, a third wave up, and a fourth wave pullback here. So we're going to take a little bit closer look at this fourth wave action here, but as is, you can see the possibility that we're getting closer to a much more important high. Again, this isn't witchcraft. This isn't anything crazy. We're looking for five-wave patterns, and we're seeing a five-wave pattern here that seems to be nearing an end. And when it does, we need to be very cautious. A move below 163 at any point would be a very large warning signal. I would not own NVIDIA if it moves below 163 because, again, that would create the potential that a very important high is in. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the most recent action here. This looks at the 2021 advance. Again, first wave up, second wave down, third wave up, and then a fourth wave down. Now, we're not positive that wave 4 is over. We'll take a little closer look at that. But either way, as long as it stays above 163, you stay bullish for now. You expect higher prices. If it moves below 163 at any point, you got to get out. So let's take a closer look at this fourth wave here. The potential is that it has completed, that you had a 3-wave down into July's low, and now we're getting kind of a slower start to wave 5 up. That's all good and dandy as long as NVIDIA stays above 186 on the near-term time frame. If it moves below that level at any point, we're going to have to conclude that this fourth wave is still not yet over. So if you're owning on a very short-term time frame, stay bullish against 186. If it moves below there, you might want to get out in anticipation of a larger fourth wave pullback. On any larger time frame, 163 is the level you have to watch. A move below there, I would have to say, is game over. You got to get out of the way. A much more important high could be in at that point. So that is NVIDIA in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and shift our focus now to Peloton, PTON. Now, this guy hasn't had as long or as fruitful of a life as the other two. It has had a very fruitful life, but on a shorter time frame. I was incepted back in 2019. Like the other guys, chopped around at the start, and then off of that 2020 low, gave us an absolutely beautiful 5-wave advance to the upside, moving from under 20 to about 170. Now, when it hit its high in early 2021, it's given us a pullback and a bounce, but this action is concerning to me. Now, on a long-term time frame, Peloton needs to stay above like 75. If it moves below there, you have some issues. I don't think it'll move below there, but I am worried that this pullback in 2021 is not yet over, and I'll show you why as we zoom in on this price action here. Now, this down leg off of the 2021 high looks a lot like a 5-wave move to me, as you see here. And then you look at the recovery off of May's low, it looks like a 3-wave move to the upside. So both of the price patterns that we're seeing in 2021 aren't exactly conducive to bullish movement directly from here. It implies to me that we had an A wave down. We're in a B wave. Maybe it's over, maybe it's not, hard to say, but that there's more weakness to come. And if at any point it moves below 99, that's confirmed. It means this pullback in 2021 is not over. I'm just not interested in this guy right now, as is. If you own it, you can own it with a stop against 99, but I feel like that level is going to give at some point ultimately, because this is concerning action. You didn't see this kind of breakdown on the leaders. We didn't see that at all. A lot of them are still at the high, setting new highs. None of them really are giving us 5-wave moves to the downside. So that's a concern for me. I would be careful with Peloton. If you do want to trade it, just keep a stop at 99. If it goes below there, you have to assume that the 2021 pullback is not yet over. And if somehow it's able to reverse its fortune, get above 136 and keep going that way, then you can at least confirm that this is in fact a counter trend move and that it will continue higher ultimately. But as is, I'm afraid of a larger counter trend pullback, and therefore I wouldn't want to own it. But if you do, 99 is your level. So there you have it, Frank. Again, welcome to TrendLizard. So glad you're here. Spread the word. We love doing this stuff. Elliott Wave works. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.